afternoon, basketball fans, and welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm Matthew Swanberg here with two-time guest, Menchville coach of basically every sport, teacher of basically every subject, Coach Zollicoffer. It's great to have you back with us.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, and let's just open it up. You can't wear that for the show. So, being a guest for your second time.
Yes, this is the only reason I
toss
do
it on
it.
over the shirt.
Yes, this is the only reason. I finally got it. Thank you. Thanks, man. That's awesome. Oh, good stuff. Okay. So this is what I'll wear every time from now on. All right.
There you go.
Hey, get ready for like your online account because as soon as they see me wearing this, it's gonna sell like hotcakes, man.
All right. So we haven't done a video in a while. Last time we did one was during the finals, and one of the subjects back then was an injury. And I guess every time we come around, there's an injury.
Yep.
To an ex-Warriors player again, someone that played in the finals. So that's what we'll open the show up with.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins tore his ACL in practice with the Lakers. They went to sign Dwight Howard. So let's get your immediate reactions to the Dwight Howard signing.
I think it's going to be a better fit this time. I think Dwight Howard and like what I'm reading on blogs and stuff is very similar to maybe the Carmelo Anthony phenomenon where when you're in your prime, you're invincible and you feel like you can produce and do great things and it's kind of on your shoulders. But as you get older, careers are fickle, man. And I think Dwight Howard, his first time coming, like maybe he didn't have that work ethic, that drive, that seriousness that Kobe Bryant demanded. But when you bounce around the league from one organization to the next, your numbers are kind of going down, you're dealing with injuries and stuff, you realize like how special that moment is. And him going to Lakers now, perfect opportunity. You got studs with LeBron James, Anthony Davis. You'll have Dwight Howard playing that center role where he can focus on doing two things he used to do really well. Get rebounds, play good defense. You know, rebounds, blocks, and then occasionally some pick and roll plays. But I think he'll be a decent fit. We'll see.
All right. So it's kind of funny. When I was, a while ago, I was trying to think of topics because the offseason, now that trades are over, is kind of bland.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, in the coming weeks before the season, I'd have a bunch of topics, like superlatives, things like that to do. And one of them was going to be the next Carmelo Anthony Award, like a player that was really good and then fell out of the league. And I was going to give that to Dwight Howard, like, if we ended up doing it.
Yeah.
Because I think he's washed. I don't see him fitting well with the Lakers because he doesn't seem like the type of teammate LeBron, like, was good with, because if you remember when LA when they exploded or imploded during the regular season, it was because the young guys, their work ethic or what they were doing on the side. And Dwight Howard, like, he seems like a cool guy to hang out with, but like in the locker room, he seems like a, he's not really into winning. He's more of a
maybe a stat-driven individual.
He seems
player.
more like a party guy, like not as focused on winning.
Okay.
And then the Lakers now have two centers that can't stretch the floor.
Mm-hmm.
In the modern NBA, that's not going to work very well. And when you're matching them up against the other centers in the league that they're going to be going up against, Dwight Howard doesn't have the same athleticism as he used to have. So when it's coming off the bench and you got him and you're playing the Clippers, if like you're assuming that's the conference finals, him versus Montrezl Harrell now with like the athleticism that Harrell possesses, things like that, the edge no longer goes to a washed-up Dwight Howard. Whereas DeMarcus Cousins, if you're a good center in the league like Montrez, you can't guard him out on the three-point line because you at least have to respect it. Now with Dwight Howard, you can't even do that.
Yeah, so you can you just bunker down and you protect low. I will say, though, his role to me isn't what it was when he was first with the Lakers, where he was supposed to be that second guy behind Kobe, and he was going to contribute 20 points, double-digit rebounds, run the court. I feel like it's almost like a JaVale McGee. He's more talented than JaVale McGee, but last year he was somewhat successful in the first half of the season with, hey, you play good defense, you get those rebounds, you can run the court, and then we'll have an inside presence down low. You're right, though. It conflicts heavy with modern NBA to have that type of center. It's like a dying breed, But I feel like he's just that one guy to plug that gap because they needed another five, and maybe Anthony Davis will play most of the minutes, and he'll come in and get his 15 or 20 minutes a game. If anything from the Lakers experiment, though, it's no risk.
Right.
I mean, you don't have him right now, right? So, I mean, you get him, and if it doesn't work out, well, that's not something you factored in having to begin with. So it's something they can pick and play, and maybe even Golden State kind of made that decision last year. They got Cousins, didn't know how it was really going to work out, and he had some minutes as he was getting back. But you remember in the finals, like, he barely played in two of the games, and it wasn't until that last game when Kevin Durant got injured he got a few more minutes again, but
And one thing about the signing is if they don't think he's performing well, they can cut him anytime before January.
Yep.
So it really is low risk, but if they do cut him, then they're going to be without a backup center.
Yeah, what were the other options?
I thought they should have signed Joakim Noah, personally.
Yeah.
Because he brings a gritty defense.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good passer. He's a good distributor. And when LeBron goes to the bench, depending on like what account you look on or what sports channel you watch, they have Rondo either starting or on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So if he is starting with LeBron, then who's your main facilitator off the bench? Either, depending again on who you start, because the 5-man rotation for the starting lineup is kind of all over the place right now. You either got like Kuzma, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, depending on how you look at it, as your main facilitator off the bench. Joakim Noah can kind of fill that gap. He's one of the best center passers. Well, he was when he was still in the league. He hasn't gotten a place in a while. And then he can guard the guys like I was talking about Montrezl Harrell off the bench. He can match up with them well because he's never going to quit, and that's the type of guy that LeBron wanted, and that's the type of thing that Kobe got upset with Dwight for.
Yeah. I'll just talk about personal experience, and maybe I shouldn't even throw this out there, but like I'm competitive in many sports. I play a lot of pickup basketball. I'm still in many soccer leagues, and I'm about the same age as all those guys now. So I remember when Dwight was going, I was with Dwight following his career with Joakim Noah. We were in college the same years and stuff. So like they're early 30s, late 20s, and man, I just think back to like 8 years ago, even 4 or 5 seasons ago, I would play 90 minutes of soccer game without stopping in a very high demand position, right? You go back and forth 18 to 18, and it just gets to a point where like that energy that you need to muster at the highest level, it's just not there. And a piece of it is like, okay, yes, I'm probably in the worst shape of my life than I've ever been, and I could do some more, but now imagine how Joakim and Dwight feel. And so, yeah, Joakim seems like he's a good addition, but everyone he's going against are these young guys coming out of college, 2-3 years of experience, or just in better shape. And the last few years of his career, I mean, I don't know how I can sum it. It seems like it's very injury, very limited minutes, very little production. So, I mean, maybe you do get something with it, but I think the Lakers may run into that issue. They seem like they're having too many stopgap older players that, okay, maybe you'll get your wins for the regular season, finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th seed or so, but I don't know if that team's going to be able to take you to the mountaintop. It's just it's too old for me, that roster, you know?
To me, the Lakers, I still don't consider them as a serious threat to win the championship.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Even with Cousins, do you say?
Even with Cousins, I still don't consider them because I consider the Clippers, obviously. They're my title favorites.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go Western Conference.
Let's go Western, yeah, okay.
The Clippers, I think if Klay Thompson comes back in the finals, that's a scary team. Klay Thompson, D'Angelo Russell, Steph Curry,
Draymond Green. Yeah.
They have a chance. I think the dynasty is 100% not over there, at least if you ask me. The Jazz are going to be a great regular season team. Whether that carries into late in the playoffs, I can't say, but FIBA, which we might talk about a little bit later, Donovan Mitchell's getting good experience playing against other players in like Australia, and last night they played against, the last night they did play against
Australia,
Canada.
Oh yeah,
my shoe fell off.
Side.
So a lot of their players are getting good experience over there. Donovan Mitchell can carry that into the season. Then they got Mike Conley, who's a veteran. You could argue whether or not you put them over the Lakers when it comes to the finals. I don't know if they'll have they're kind of like the Nuggets, like last year. I never considered them, thought about them going to the finals. They were just a good regular season team.
Absolutely, yep.
So, I have them top 3, top 4, again, depending on where you put the Jazz, but I never really thought second round exit is my floor for them.
Yeah, but I think we were losing it. We're missing out a few other teams, like Houston. You would put them in for the Lakers?
I don't have high hopes on Houston, no.
Really?
Maybe they get 50 wins. Maybe they hover around that number. But
because I always felt like even last year, and that's like I like how you said it's maybe a little underrated Golden State Warriors because they did the playoffs without Durant until the finals, and all those teams that are like ranked above them now either weren't in the playoffs or they beat in the playoffs. So I think like Portland may be in there as like a great regular season team. We'll see what they're gonna do in the playoffs, but I think Houston is up there. I have my Lakers at 5th or 6th tier, but then it all depends on injuries and who knows. Maybe it really does mess and you have 2 all-star world caliber players that are healthy the whole entire season and everyone's better because of them and they pull off a 2nd seed or third seed.
This is probably going to be the hottest take in debate mate's history.
Yeah.
But are we 100% sure that the Lakers, judging off of injury history, are even a lock to make the playoffs. Like, if LeBron tears his groin, or if that's that bad, he's, 35 years old now. If Anthony Davis misses 40 games.
Yep.
If Kyle Kuzma is not the third star. If Rondo and Dwight Howard are washed up. JaVale McGee was good because he played with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, so no one cared about what he did. He could dive to the rim whenever. Are we sure that this roster, plus Danny Green and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who might not even be able to travel to away games because he sometimes gets in trouble with the law, and can only stay in L.A., I mean, are we really sure that this is a playoff team?
That's a hot take.
If no one gets injured, yes, obviously, they're a top 3 team if they take the regular season seriously. But can we assume there are going to be no injuries? No.
Yeah, I know. That's tough. You can't ever assume. There's one people that I rely on a lot, and it's like a group of computers and algorithms called Las Vegas. And Las Vegas right now has them locked in to be a playoff team.
I'm not saying they're not going to be a playoff team. Like, I'm on the record as saying they will be a playoff team, but I'm saying there's always the possibility. But
absolutely.
There's a possibility with every team, but it just seems higher with the Lakers.
Yeah, I think so too, because we're talking about that aging roster, and it's dependent on those two being healthy for the entire season. And as soon as one of them goes out for an extended period of time, the West is such a competitive conference that, hey man, if you're not competing to win every night, you're falling behind.
Right.
And that's what happened last year, with LeBron James and his groin, and then Lonzo got hurt, and then Ingram at the end. It was like, man, all these other teams are picking up 2 wins out of every 3 games, or 3 wins out of every 5, and then you're losing 3 out of 5. That gap is going to be a little insurmountable. So.
Right, and LeBron missed a lot of time at the end of the season. He called it quits with, I guess, 10.
Load management,
load
easy.
Management.
Not quits, load management.
Load management is a new thing that I think will definitely be a big story this season.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George probably won't play more than 65 games in the season. But with the Lakers, I don't know if they can withstand that because the rest of their roster can't do it on their own as much as the Clippers could.
Yeah, and who knows? I thought one good mitigator of that would rely on the shoulders of one or two people is the offense that you run. And that's why, to me, great coaches really shine. Like Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, they have a system in place that if your stars are not playing, you're still competing because that system is run on plays, it's run on ball movement, and the openings of all players. If you have the shot, you take the shot. And I think those teams are successful. So I'm curious to see what the offense would look like. A little hesitant, though, with LeBron running point guard because he will be the main ball handler. He facilitates the offense similar to Harden did the last 2 years. If he's not on the court, what does that offense look like? That happened at OKC the last few years with Russell Westbrook. When he's off the court, or even when he's on the court, sometimes he's so driven, focused with, just very tunnel vision, go, go, go. All those guys are left standing. They're not in the rhythm of the game. They don't, they're not so confident with taking that open shot. So it just seems very cluttered.
Right, and getting back to them signing Dwight Howard and how I think they might struggle, there's a lot of turnover with the Lakers roster. This off the top of my head, I'm not sure if I'm getting them all correct. But returning players, Rondo, KCP, LeBron, JaVale, they traded Isaac Bonga, Mo Wagner, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart. I think there might be more that I'm forgetting, rotation guys. But 4 players, if I am getting that right, returning for a team that is supposed to compete for a championship, plus the new coaches.
Yep.
They have 3 head coaches filling out as head coach, assistant coach, and assistant to the assistant coach.
Yeah, and don't forget LeBron James because he's actually the 4th head coach. He's the real head coach and the GM and the owner now apparently.
So they have Frank Vogel. Jason Kidd.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Jason Kidd's a player's coach. Frank Vogel is a coach. Did well with the Pacers.
Mm-hmm. Very defensive minded.
Right. So either the coaches are going to explode and they're going to lose 2 or 3 of them during the regular season, or the roster's going to explode and Kyle Kuzma's going to be out by February. There are a lot of things that could go wrong for these Lakers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that the one pro, though, I know I mentioned a few times about, there's an aging roster. Will it make it through the whole season? Will they be able to fight through the playoffs with all the minutes that are on the shoes, that are on the court? But I think the one pro is they're professionals. Right. And now they've been doing this for 8, 9, 14 seasons, where you can actually get a group of professionals, experienced vets on a team, and they know what their expectations are. They know most of the plays. They can build chemistry quickly with one another just because they have that experience in the system. So even though they're only returning 4 of them, I think the guys that they replace it with, savvy vets, they'll be able to fill in and do their job. So.
And now let's look on the darker side of this with DeMarcus Cousins. So in the past, I think 3 years, he's torn his Achilles twice.
Yep.
Or no, Achilles once and ACL twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you think DeMarcus Cousins will ever play for a team again?
I think he will play for a team next year, but on a minimum contract and a low role. I know there's some of those sports analytics that show when people tear their Achilles, how they're never the same with just their overall athleticism and like their bounce. But that's a bad sign to have 3 major injuries, and I don't know if I can really think of a player off the top of my head. I think Amari Stoudemire stands out. Like, he was very, very explosive. He had like 1 or 2 of those injuries, and then to me, he was almost like a shell.
Right.
There was like Tyrus Thomas. He had some injuries. He wasn't as explosive as much. So, yeah, that's going to be tough. I think he will still play because he started at all-star caliber, right? So he's an all-star. He was putting up 22 points, 12 rebounds a game. So even if you get 60, 70% of that, that's worthy of a spot for 15 minutes on a team. But it's sad because, this is like the redemption story last year. We thought, hey, and I mean the torn quad too.
Right.
And it just seems like, what is that expression? When it rains, it pours. It
Right.
seems it's just all coming on right now. That
It's going to go down as possibly one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history. If he doesn't get injured, one, against the Clippers,
Yep.
and then the Warriors potentially go on to win the championship, and then maybe KD stays, DeMarcus Cousins stays,
Yeah.
and they win 2 or 3 more. And then if they do win and he goes to the Lakers and he's not injured, and then the Lakers win 1 or 2 or become a team that three-peats,
Oh, yeah, no.
and he becomes a Hall of Famer type guy, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot that could have happened.
I know, and I feel bad for him because, how bad can you feel? He still made a lot of money in his career, but it's like that was supposed to be his contract year, his last
Right.
year with New Orleans. So he was a super max guy, or at least like a max contract guy with all the free agencies before he tore his Achilles or ruptured his Achilles. So then coming back, showing what you can, you're probably eligible for a little bit more, but the market isn't there. And then this happens. It's like, I don't think you'll ever see anything close to a max again.
Right.
You know?
And it's sad because he's such a talented player, but it all went downhill real fast.
I know. Never really liked his game, though. I don't know.
All right, so now let's move on to the Brooklyn Nets, who last night on Karis LeVert's birthday extended him for the 2021-2022 season.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to ask straight up, is there a championship in the Nets' future?
Not this year, definitely. You have to wait for Kevin Durant to come back healthy. And we know, right, there's no way he's playing next year.
Right.
Okay. Because I thought there was a small chance of if they're a playoff team and that rehab is going really well and Kevin Durant starts doing some 5-on-5 or some light, then maybe, hey, let's jump in the playoffs here. But not this year. Next year, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I would say. You have Kyrie, you'll have Durant, you'll have like Chris there and Spencer Dinwiddie and stuff. Like, it's going to be a solid squad to compete. I always thought like the Bucks though would be the team to beat in the next 2 or 3 years, or the 76ers. So those guys are getting older. I guess the same argument could be made with DeMarcus Cousins as Kevin Durant. He is a shooter, so I do think he'll be able to still be a very efficient player because of his height, his ability to shoot. He may not need the explosion that he could rely on when he would like slash in the
hoop. I want to butt in here real quick.
Yeah.
I saw something online that said like all of the notable players that have torn their Achilles, they right-handed and they've torn their left Achilles, which I guess corresponds with your right hand. That's where you spring off of. 2 guys that didn't tear their left Achilles that are both right-handed. Dominique Wilkins, who has been noted to come back as good, if not better, than when he tore
I saw that. Yeah.
and Kevin Durant.
Okay.
So he's not going to lose as much explosion as I guess people are saying, or at least that's what I read. And he's never really relied too much on athleticism.
No, but there are some moments. I think he's underrated with athleticism. People say that, but he was like the best defender on the court when he was healthy because he's rangy, he's explosive, he can block people, and then he can run the court. It's that short burst, that acceleration, gets by his defender and just jams it in. Like, that's impressive, and I love that stuff. So you're right. I mean, I think that the stats with that will show that he'll come back. And like I said before, he is a shooter first. He can create a shot. He's open every time he has it because of his height and his ability with his moveset. So I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Kevin Durant he's one of the most underrated players in basketball history.
Yeah.
He should be considered top 5 ever, in my opinion.
A top 5 of all time?
Of all time. And I'm a Kevin Durant fan, so I'm a little biased. But, I mean, for the past 5 years, he's been number 2, if not number 1, to LeBron.
Absolutely.
And LeBron is number 2, if not number 1, to MJ.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree, and I think most players express your sentiments too. Sometimes like the media gets in and then you add like a lot of trivia to someone's career, but just strictly basketball. Most of the players that comment on his game say he's the best player we've ever seen, the best player we've ever played with offensively.
Right.
Because his like you could honestly call isolation every play and it would be a good shot. Where 99% of the basketball players, yeah, you have an ISO, but you're not always taking a good shot. But he has the height and the shot to be able to create a good shot on his own every single time, which is rare.
If he wins a championship with the Nets, I've heard Max Kellerman, who a lot of people think he's crazy, but he said that Kevin Durant would be considered, or could be considered, the number one player ever if he wins a championship with the Nets. Where do you stand on that?
That's tough. No, I wouldn't say he'd be the best player ever. I have a little like Jordan bias, and I have a few players ranked in front of Durant, but his career, he still has like many years to go. That would be an impressive knock on his resume, though, and would definitely warrant that conversation. But I would almost say you would have to like dominate with that team for several seasons and maybe win 2 or 3 championships to be considered. Because you think like the Jordan reign of 3 years in a row, then you retire to go play baseball, another professional sport, for 2 years. And if he had played basketball, probably won 2 of the years that Houston won it, and then he comes back, wins 3 in a row, and then he like retires. Like that's a dominance with the team, and they didn't have great players on there like Pippen and Robin. That second go round were 2 Hall of Famers, but everybody else like Luke Longley, Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr are just like role players, and you just played with the best along with 1 or 2 other Hall of Famers. So I don't know. And let's just say this: maybe that's all hypotheticals, and like Max Kellerman could say that. But it's going to be tough to win that one.
Yeah, Max Kellerman also said that if there was an alien pointing a laser at Earth and one player had to make a shot to save it, either Curry or Iguodala, he said he'd take Iguodala. So,
Iguodala, yeah, that's true though.
You think that?
Yeah, I don't know. Iguodala, man, those big moments. It's like, what did we say last time? It's like the no, yes or something.
Yeah.
It's like, no, because you just see it so many times he's wide open in games or moments that don't matter. It's like he hits off the side of the backboard. Like he doesn't even like hit the rim, or it's like an air ball. It's like, oh, I did it. But no, those big shots, man. Especially in the finals the last time when he sunk that one for them to win. I don't know, was it game 2 or game 3 or something? Yeah, I was like, that's him.
Yeah. So moving on to the FIBA basketball team.
Okay.
The pseudo Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
So they lost to Australia a couple nights ago.
Broke the streak of 72.
Patty
games.
Mills scored 30 points on them. Do you think that this team is going to win gold in the Olympics?
Like we mentioned about Vegas, definitely the favorite. So I think it's theirs to lose. But honestly, not so inspired about international basketball with the United States. And typically you have like all these superstars that are on that team, and this is like more of the second All-Star team, third All-Star team players that are on it. So I'm a little ashamed to admit it, but like I haven't been following FIBA or international basketball that much, and a lot of that coincides with like NFL. I'm a huge NFL fan, so we're in the thick of training camp and preseason, playing for fantasy drafts. But can you tell me the top players on the team right now?
Real quick, so you're saying fantasy drafts. You didn't draft Andrew Luck, did you?
No.
All right.
And in the leagues I'm in, we always wait until after at least the 3rd preseason game, typically after the 4th preseason game, so you kind of know everything, who's hurt, who's not, where the depth chart falls, so you have the most information available. I do know some people, though, that they were a part of drafts in the very beginning, that first preseason game, and they got Luck, they got Lamar Miller, and that's just the risk you take. I mean...
Yeah, Lamar Miller, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he had
never have.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, he tore his ACL. So he's a very established running back. 2 days ago, he tore his ACL, so he's out for the year.
Oh, wow.
I had that with Odell Beckham. I drafted him one time, and he, broke his leg or is out for the whole year. So.
All right, so you said name the best players.
Yeah, name. You tell me. Tell the audience of Debate Mate,
all right,
too.
So start off with 2 All-Stars, and not just saying they're All-Stars. They actually made the All-Star team.
Okay.
Kemba Walker, All-Star starter, Chris Middleton. Borderline All-Stars, Donovan Mitchell. Could have been an All-Star.
Yeah, okay, I see. It's tough. I mean...
They got Donovan Mitchell. They have basically every Celtics player. Jaylen Brown, Mark Smart.
Tatum.
Yeah, I forgot about Tatum.
Yep.
He could be considered a borderline All-Star.
Yeah.
Not
but
really,
where's the wow factor at? Where is the straight up? It's like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Carmelo coming off the bench in his prime. Like that's what it used to be, and now it's
They
like
got Kemba Walker.
That's not it though. That's not it. I mean, man, I remember when like Anthony Davis was like fighting for a spot on that squad, and that guy's like an all-world talent. I don't know who. Can I throw out a question here?
Yeah.
Sorry, taking over like these little questions up. Right now in the NBA, if you had to put 5 on the court to represent the United States of America, who would they be?
Without injuries?
Let's do realistically. So you couldn't include like Kevin Durant or Cousins because they're hurt.
All right.
Like right now.
Okay.
And I bet you it's not going to be a single one of those players that are on that team right now.
All right, let's think.
Let's think.
Kemba Walker.
Would you do Kemba?
Donovan Mitchell.
No, you wouldn't.
No, okay.
Would you?
But
again, LeBron James.
LeBron, Curry.
Curry.
Okay, well, Giannis doesn't count because he's Greek. So.
Yep. But is he Greek American? Or is he strictly
He's Greek. He's playing on the Greek team. Anthony Davis.
Okay. We got some
Harden, I guess.
Harden, because this is FIBA basketball. Like shooting is king.
Right.
Right, and
then we got 2 guards, a forward, 2 forwards actually, center. Oh well, no, not Embiid. Doesn't count.
Yeah, that is tough. I think we're
not
really
Jokic, Serbian.
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns, I guess.
Maybe Cat for like another big out there.
But he's not a top 5 player in the league.
No, he's not. He's not.
He's not even a top 5
I feel like we're
US
missing.
born
Yeah.
American.
Are we missing somebody off that list or no?
No, because I mean other centers, Rudy Gobert, French.
Yeah.
I think most people will consider the top 5 centers in the league. Top 4.
Embiid.
Jokic. Gobert and Cat.
Okay.
So,
I agree. So then maybe some of the other ones I was thinking of, like the top 10 players, who are we leaving out? Westbrook and
Klay
Lillard
Thompson.
and Klay Thompson, but he's hurt. Maybe have Draymond as a glue guy coming off the bench to play defense, but can't really shoot. Okay.
All right, and what do you think about Carmelo Anthony not even getting accepted onto the USA team?
It's for somebody. It's for a new blood. You know, I don't know. I'm really biased about Carmelo Anthony. Just because
in a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way.
Me too.
In a bad way, and I need to look at it from a basketball perspective, but as a coach, like there's certain traits that I value, and everything I've read or interviews or what people say is like, that is me first, not team first, and I don't like that, because you need like 5, if not 12, 15 guys on the roster to be able to contribute to winning, and I felt like this, and I forget what teammate said it, and this is what I've always thought about him. If they lost, and he had like 40 points and an awesome stat line, deep down inside he was okay with it because he got his.
Right.
Versus like if they won and he only had 12 points, he was like whatever 3 for 16 or something from the floor, that he was like really angry, upset,
right.
And that's just. And I one of the players said that too. He's like he had to get his 25 points a night. That was a good night for him, whether the team won or lost. And they said he was young and they understand why, but now he's grown out of it and he's more team oriented. And I thought he gave that really authentic interview. I forget. I saw it on YouTube. I forgot who he did it with.
First Take.
First Take, right? And I thought that was pretty cool because he did say in Houston he was ready to take the role. Like, whatever I can do to help the team, whatever minutes, like, it's what the coach wants, what the owner wants, but maybe they've already kind of wrapped in that. And then some of the analytics, like when you're on the court, you're worse off as a team.
Yeah. I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, especially if the old dog doesn't want to learn the new tricks.
And so a lot of this now is like saying that you want to learn, but
Yeah. I mean, how is he going to help Houston? Because he didn't play any defense.
Yep.
And he shot like 20% every game.
Yeah, and I think maybe as the season went on and you have more opportunity and stuff, maybe you can get in a rhythm. There's definitely like the ebb and flow of getting hot. I remember Klay Thompson started off horrendous last season. I mean, he ended with right at his career average, and come playoff time, he's like knocking him down like a 45% clip. So maybe, but it's the NBA of old, like the ISO ball, not really playing defense, and when you're a third or fourth guy option, you can't get away with not playing defense because that's what you had like Trevor Ariza a few years back. Like, who's the PJ Tucker, right? Who you'll get the points, or Patrick Beverly, but you're there to really play defense and create offense for.
Yeah. All right. So back to the FIBA team.
Mm-hmm.
So we've mentioned a couple of their good players. Which player do you think will benefit the most come regular season time?
This is a cool one, though, because the NBA, to me, is like the greatest competition ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the best players in the world. So I'm looking for a player that is younger, that maybe you get a little distraught in the NBA because you're playing against such great defense that you lose a bit of confidence, and that's key, right? Like, if you're confident as a player, like, that could be the difference of 5 extra points a game if you're willing to shoot, willing to take that. So I think it would be like in the Tatum realm, maybe even Donovan Mitchell. Like, I felt like Jaylen Brown and Tatum, and I don't have stats to back this, but there was a lot of hype 2 seasons ago.
Right.
And then last year, it kind of took a step back. Like, not saying that they regressed, maybe they got better, but maybe more offense was thrown onto their shoulders, and they didn't produce what everyone projected them to do. And I think now when you do FIBA, man, you get some of those games where your team's easily scoring 100 points. You're so confident. You try out a new skill set, a new move set. You can translate that in. I think, like you said, with Donovan Mitchell is key. He would definitely benefit because he's going to be probably the #1 scoring option on that team.
Right.
So, like, you're really leading that international team. And
I don't really have a specific player, but count me in on the Boston Celtics hype train. I can't wait to watch them because Kemba, Brown, Tatum, and Marcus Smart are all going overseas together. They're bonding.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a 50-win team. I think they're going to all glue together. I think Tatum's going to improve. I mean, Kemba, obviously he can improve, but he seems at the point where it's just kind of be like this until he starts to decline when he gets older.
I think he's very team-oriented, too.
Yeah.
I think he's a good leader.
And then Jaylen Brown, he can't get much worse. He's had bright spots, like when they played the Bucks and they were actually doing well. Or actually in that whole series, he posterized Giannis like 3 times.
Yeah,
you can't really gauge someone's skills off of posterizing people, but you know. Like,
but it counts.
Yeah, it counts. He's fearless, definitely. If I learned anything from watching that series, well, I learned a lot from watching that series. Hey, we need to get rid of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And we got Kemba Walker now, so that should help.
Yeah, is that an addition by subtraction?
Yeah, and then Marcus Smart, he's just, if you like any other team, you're going to hate him. But if you like the Celtics, you love him.
Great defender.
I'm excited for them because they got all of these guys playing overseas, playing against all these other good players overseas, and like I said, so they're going to be good.
Yeah.
And one thing about FIBA, why I do think they will win, is you can't say this about any other team in the league. They have, 12 NBA players. No other roster has 12 NBA players. They might have 3 or 4.
Absolutely. So you already know it doesn't have to be top notch. And I mean, honestly, for many of those Olympics or international competitions, you could have had like United States first squad versus United States second squad, United States third squad, and there could be an argument they would win gold, silver, and bronze with that. So there is like a wealth of talent. I just mentioned like the enthusiasm piece. It's like not your main star state stars, but there are some arguments made in like the mid 2000s that sometimes it's better to put a team of a close-knit group that has a lot of chemistry to represent the United States for international competition. They said it about Golden State in their run. If you had Golden State's roster for World Cup or, Olympics, they would win.
Right.
I mean, because they are winning the championship with that roster against, like, the world's best clubs. Yeah. The same thing, I don't know how familiar you are with the Detroit Pistons of the early 2000s. It was like a not homegrown, but American team, positions 1 through 5. I mean, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, like, those guys were like 5 Americans that were above average and, but they worked really well as a team. So you get that with the Celtics, so that's cool.
Right.
That's cool.
Right. All right. So, struggling for topics here in the off season. Do you have anything you want to throw out?
Can we do the projections on the East?
Like the standings?
Yeah. Who do you think? All right, just give me the top 4 teams.
Okay, so, all right, well, let's do 8 through 5, and then we'll do 1 through 4.
Okay.
So
I don't even think I know 8 teams in the East. What did BC Charles play? Sorry.
So you want me to do 8? You do 8, and I'll do 7, then 7, 6, 6.
Okay.
5.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. For 8 seed, Heat.
Okay, and they have Jimmy Butler as their major addition. Who else?
Goran Dragic. They lost to Son Whiteside.
Yep. And they were supposed to... Okay, they got rid of... Who was their, like, up-and-coming star that went to the 76ers? Justin?
Josh Richardson.
Josh Richardson, okay. And is he up-and-coming? How old is he?
Yeah, he's, I believe, 23, 24.
Okay. Who would be in your range of just leaving them out? When you said Heat 8, who would have been 9? Because I wish I had a list real quick, because I want to see, like, I don't want to say Heat 8 and then I think about some team I didn't include.
It's tough in the East because there's so many teams that are either 8th seed or, like, lottery.
Where would you put Detroit at?
Detroit, I'd put them a bit above the Heat.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'll put the Pistons 8.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, okay.
With the Pistons, everybody is so hype about Derrick Rose. I don't really see that.
Shell.
He's kind of like...
He's actually a shell, too.
He's kind of like Carmelo Anthony. He's got such a huge fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know why, because I've never really thought he was, like...
The youngest MVP ever.
Right, but...
Right.
But
he tore his ACL. It was... What was it? Cleveland versus Chicago. Chicago was giving it to LeBron and his Cleveland squad, and then Rose tore his ACL. Chicago loses that series. Never the same.
Right.
And I question you're right about the Carmelo. Sorry for getting off topic here, but you're right, because he said a lot of comments he made, like, it's, basketball isn't everything, and he's right. Yes, there are some things that are more important than basketball, but as a fan, as an owner, I don't want my player thinking that it's second, third fiddle to other things.
Right.
And it's just a way to make money to support my family. No, I'd rather have someone that didn't care about money, just wants to win, win, win. All right, so I'm going to throw Detroit. I'm going to put Detroit at 8.
All right, then 7, I'll go with the Heat.
And I think I'll go with the Heat, too.
All right, now this is where it can get a little bungled. 6. Do you have a 6 team first that you want to
Yeah, let me think. Okay. Atlanta, absolutely not. Orlando. No?
Orlando, I have higher.
Okay.
Okay, hot take. I'm moving both my teams up. I'm going Atlanta Hawks 8.
You think Atlanta's going to be really good?
Okay, so I feel like I know a little bit more about Atlanta than the average NBA fan because a couple of their guys, I followed them when they played for Maryland.
Okay.
Because they have 3 players that played for Maryland are now on the team. Kevin Huerter, Alex Len, and Bruno Fernando, who they just drafted.
I just know Alex Len.
Right. So Kevin Huerter, starting 2 guard, a second team all rookie, shot 38% from 3.
Okay.
Averaged 10 points. Very athletic. Great. He's got a lot of highlight dunks, like not like highlight dunks where he's post roughing people, but like putbacks, athletic dunks that you don't really expect when you look at a guy like him. He's pale. He blends in with the whitest white you could ever see. Like bright red hair. He doesn't look like the type of guy that you would expect to be dunking on people. But he's a deadly 3-point shooter. Trae Young, he's not a Maryland guy, but obviously the average NBA fan knows how good he is.
Yep.
John Collins, one of the more underrated players in the league. I think he has the potential to be an all-star.
Okay.
And then you got Alex Len, who, he's kind of there just to fill out the center role. He improved on his 3-point jumper last year. He was never very good at Maryland. I never saw why he got drafted super high. If my dad were here, he would rip him to shreds because he's a diehard Maryland fan.
Okay.
And then DeAndre Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I think he and Cam Reddish were both voted in like the top 5 of best careers in the rookie polls.
Yeah, what did they say? Cam Reddish was number 1.
He was number 1.
That people thought will have the most successful NBA career.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Well, I mean, Zion, I think a lot of people are skeptical about him, including myself.
Thinking that maybe he won't live up to the hype.
Yeah.
But if the hype is like Blake Griffin stats, I think he'll...
I don't know if he's
even that good, yeah.
Blake Griffin at least came into the league where he was, muscular.
Mm-hmm.
And Zion's muscular, but is it all muscle? I don't know.
No, it's some weight. Yeah, you're right. I think that you always have to be careful of the super athletic. The super athletic get away in college and like any ball before NBA because they can just take advantage of their explosiveness.
And I was watching clips of Zion dunking when they had like the rookie photo shoots for like the Panini cards and stuff. And he's doing dunks and, he's making them obviously, but, it's not the same amount of bounce that he had when he was playing for Duke where he would jump up and his head would seemingly go over the backboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they said something with the weight and the out of shape too.
Right.
Like since that draft, like they were a little disappointed about
and
how he came into
He's like, he's going across the country doing different shows. It's like, why is he not training?
Yeah.
You drafted the number 1 pick for a guy that's just going to go do shows instead of train hard in the offseason.
And you always have to be careful of people that put on weight when they're in a professional sport. Because if you're doing all that running and conditioning and you still have a problem with weight, you can't ever let off the throttle because
Right.
then you balloon to like
Right.
330 pounds, 350 pounds.
And he probably has become the heaviest player in the NBA because it was him and Boban Marjanovic. And Boban Marjanovic is like, we had a bit of a camera scare there. So what I was saying is, I think Zion is now weighs more than Boban Marjanovic and has become the heaviest player in the league. But back to the Atlanta Hawks thing.
Okay, yeah.
Because I kind of forgot. I think you were about to bring up another point, but we were talking about Zion, but I can't remember anymore because.
I was just saying about the athleticism because in high school and college, like if you're bigger, faster, stronger, you will dominate. But in the NBA, everyone's bigger, faster, stronger. And this is what I've noticed, like technically in football in the NBA, the players that don't have like that gift of athleticism end up developing a skill set that's more refined because they need that to succeed.
Right.
So like you have better post moves, you have like a more accurate jumper, more accurate fadeaway. You're typically a better passer because you can't just rely on just bulldozing someone and jamming on them, you know? So I'm going to be cautious with Zion because those guys are just as athletic as he is, and like will he be able to have those post moves to create a shot, or is he just full steam ahead? I don't know.
So back to the standings. I have the Hawks at the end. That's a very big jump because they probably won't be. But I have.
But what did they finish at last year?
11th, I think.
11th, okay.
10th. So I have the Hawks 8. I have the Pistons 7. And then the
Heat 6.
And then you have Pistons Heat.
Yep.
And then you have it at your 6th seed.
Okay, and this is what I need to actually count from the top. And I don't want the camera to hear this real quick. But let's just say, like, our top echelon teams.
LeBron James, yeah, all of those.
What?
Yeah, like LeBron when he's talking about teams.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. So we think, like, Boston. We think 76ers. We think the Nets. What do you think, Milwaukee? Am I missing one?
I think you are, yeah. The
Who?
Pacers.
Pacers. So that's the 5. So who would be 6? 76ers, Boston, Pacers, Nets.
Oh, well, in that case, I forgot the Magic, so this is hard when you do it on the spot. I'm going to have to...
Yeah. I wish we had, like, a board or something where I could see all the teams like they do on ESPN, and they just, like, pull it to, like,
I'll put the Magic at the 6.
What about the Knicks? Why isn't no one talking about the Knicks?
Because they're not there. So you got the Magic at the 6, move the Pistons down to the 7, move the Heat to the 8.
There we go.
Move the Hawks out. Is that yours now?
Yes.
Except I have the Heat at the 8, you have the Pistons at the 8.
Yep. So this is a flip-flop, but that's minor. That's like a little discrepancy.
Then at the 5, I have the Pacers.
5 Pacers, yep.
4 Nets.
4 Nets, perfect. And here is the moment that matters. All the other teams doesn't matter because none of those teams will agree are going to be competing to go to the finals or Western. These are the 3 teams that will be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
3.
So, I mean, there's only 2, but these are the 3 teams that can compete for our conference finals.
So number 3,
Boston.
Celtics. Okay.
Right.
So this is where it could get dicey.
Here we go.
Number 2,
Milwaukee.
Philadelphia.
I say Milwaukee.
I think Philadelphia is going to come out of the East for the finals. But, because this is another kind of hot take, I think Al Horford's better than Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
So I think
so too.
better.
I think he's an awesome passer. He's developed range in his jumper. And he's just a good locker room guy, great leader, good team player.
Like, it might be something like the 76ers win 59 games and the Bucks win 60.
Yeah,
It'll probably be pretty close, but I have the Bucks at the number 1.
Okay, I have Bucks at 2, and then we just flip-flop.
And we might as well do the West real quick, and then we'll call it a show.
Okay.
This is a lot tougher.
Okay.
So we'll start at number 8. Or do you want to start at number 1 because we had so much talk?
I know, that's tough going in the back, because I feel like I'm leaving at like 9, 10, like who's in that little range? I think we both agree number 1 is the Clippers, right?
Yeah. No, I think number 1 is the Jazz.
Really?
Because I think the Clippers are going to have a lot of load management.
Okay, wow.
Same with the Lakers.
Okay, so you have the Jazz. I say I will go Clippers for number 1.
Okay. And then number 2,
I'm going to go...
That's where I'll put the Clippers.
Okay. For number 2, I'm going to go with Houston Rockets.
Okay.
It's a hot take there. I think they are good, man.
All right.
They always scare me. I don't know. They just scare me.
Number 3.
I mean, Harden's doing that one-legged step-back three-pointer. When he deploys on the NBA, they're not going to be ready. All right, what's the... Okay. So, man, we really got to start writing this down.
I got it.
Golden State.
All right.
Absolutely.
Number 4.
I have the
Lakers.
Jazz. I'm the Jazz for number 4.
Oh wow, you have the Lakers pretty far then.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe 5, maybe 6. I still have like Portland in there. I have Denver. I want to put before the Lakers. Oh, sorry, my bad.
All right, so we got our top 3. I know we got a
What's that 4?
Top 4. Ooh, yeah, I forgot the Nuggets.
See, Nuggets finished number 2 last year.
All right.
I mean,
Nuggets number 1, Jazz number 2. I'm moving everybody back. Again.
Oh, now I'm all confused.
Nuggets number 1, Jazz number 2, Clippers number 3. That's what I got so far.
Okay, and I have what? The Clippers, Houston, Golden State.
And then Golden State will be my 4 seed.
And then what's my 4 seed?
I don't think you said it yet.
I thought I did say it. Portland? No.
Jazz.
I said Jazz. All right. Yeah. All right, Jazz. Good.
So we got our top 4.
There we go.
5. That's where I'll put the Lakers.
Okay, and I'm gonna put the Nuggets.
6. I'll go with the Rockets.
I'm gonna go Portland.
All right. 7. You got all these tough teams down here. You got Portland.
Yeah.
Dallas potentially.
Oh, I forgot about
The
that.
Spurs are 1,000. The Spurs are a lock. They're making it.
Spurs are a lock. They have to be your
Spurs
7
are
or
making
8.
it. Yeah, the Spurs. This is maybe a pipe dream, but I'm really, really hoping the Kings make it.
Okay.
They definitely have a chance. They're gonna be
Yep.
in there. I mean, that's 4 teams, so we have that's 7, 8, 9, 10 teams that could potentially make it. Maybe if Devin Booker wanted to actually work on his game in the offseason.
But you can't allow the double team though. When you're working on your game,
Why not?
no double team.
Well,
You're trying to do your skill set. You're trying to practice on skills,
But he
man.
said, I get double teamed in this all year. Like,
wouldn't that be a perfect time to work on your passing to understand spacing and stuff?
yeah, you want to
that
work on your
argument
passing
can be
while you're
made.
getting doubled.
No, you're right, man.
I know I'm right.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Oh, you.
I was just making a comment on what he said. Not allowed it. He
All
said,
right.
he was like, you can't double team me.
And then Joakim Noah was back there saying, well, you gotta deal with it.
Yep. But somebody else came to his defense and said no.
Kevin Durant did.
He's like, no, yeah, you're trying to work on your skill set, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So 7 for me is gonna be Spurs.
So, yeah, I'll go with the Spurs. 7.
And then 8 is Lakers.
Mavericks for me.
8 is Lakers. They just edge into the playoffs.
So I left the Mavericks out. I got the Mavericks and left out. Who did you? I left out Portland.
You left Portland. I mean, they made it to Western Conference Finals last year, and they have who's coming back from injury? Nurkic.
But he got injured right at the end of the year, so
okay,
he'll be back pretty late. They got Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah.
They got Nasir Little at the 25th pick to play small forward.
Okay.
They got rid of Mo Harkless and Alfred Gamino.
Okay.
Who didn't really play a whole lot. They lost Enes Kanter.
He's good.
I mean, CJ McCollum is my second favorite player in the league, so it's hard to.
How do you leave out the Western Conference finalists?
Because okay, so the teams that didn't make it, that made it last year that I don't have making it this year, are the Thunder.
Yeah.
And Portland. And Portland's I'm not so sure about that. I'm a little.
Yeah, I feel like when you have McCollum and you have Lillard there with their cast of role players, that they'll do well. Who's the one guy that replaced Nurkic?
They got Hassan Whiteside, and then last year Enes Kanter played those minutes.
But who else though? Zach Collins or something?
Yeah,
is he still there?
Good, yeah.
He's pretty good. He's high energy.
And then they lost Myers Leonard. He went to the Heat.
Okay.
Wait, so I'm just gonna throw out a couple of teams in the Western Conference that I think might be better than the Portland Trail Blazers.
Okay.
If you disagree, I guess I'll have to talk you into them.
Okay.
So here are the ones that I think we 100% agree on. Clippers.
Yes.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Rockets.
Yeah.
Then
Golden State.
We got Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Denver.
Yeah.
Lakers.
I had Portland ranked ahead of the Lakers.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like overall they're a better team, and the Laker has 2 superstars and then a cast of old retired vets.
Trust me, Coach Stretch is a huge Lakers fan. That I normally do it with.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of developed in my brain a defense mechanism against anyone who says good things about the Lakers.
Okay.
But for this instance, in Stretch's honor, I have to say that since he's not here, I have to say that they're pretty good.
Okay.
But I still don't think they'll be that good. So I have to have them better.
So, they're fighting, and that's going to be, to me, that 5th seed to 8th seed or 9th seed, the team that's just left out.
You said it yourself. They have Anthony Davis, who's an all-world talent.
I know.
They got LeBron.
I know. It's just, that's the
Danny
beauty
Green,
of the NBA, because you never, these are all
Danny Green.
he's okay.
They got Jared Dudley.
Yeah.
They got Tavius Caldwell-Pope,
Yep.
Rajon Rondo,
Kuzma.
Dwight Howard, Kyle Kuzma.
They have the names. They have it on paper, man.
I don't like them very much. I don't.
Which
think
one?
Any of them.
Oh, okay.
I think they're a second round exit at best.
Okay.
But I still think they're going to be better than Portland.
Yeah.
Then after that, we got the Spurs, who
They're guaranteed.
they're
it's a
always
lot.
there. They're always
Do you
there.
ever watch Game of Zones?
Yes, I love that.
Do you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No.
That it's based off of. Okay. So if you could watch both, like.
Game of Thrones is hilarious.
It's awesome. When he's like the White Walker, Greg Popovich turns people blue, they give their soul, and then they put it in a soul box.
And then they gave it to the Celtics and they didn't work out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then
Yeah.
you got, so those are 7 teams. The Mavericks, maybe.
Yeah, the Mavericks pencil in as my most excited team to watch.
Right.
Like Luka, and to have Kristaps there.
And then another team that we left out, potentially, that could be really good, the Pelicans. A
Oh,
lot of excitement.
that actually, yeah. So between the Mavericks and the Pelicans would be the top 2
Right.
teams like I'm most excited to watch because you're right. The Pelicans won that trade for Anthony Davis.
The Pelicans, they're not, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but like, if there's
I
any
think-
reason to buy League Pass, it's to watch them.
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. And if you're a big fantasy player, I think the Pelicans have a lot of options on there that can generate some fantasy points. And Drew, who is it?
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday from New Orleans is like one of the best two-way players in the league.
And I'm not a big fan of Lonzo Ball, so I'm not too high on that part of them. And I'm not also too high on Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
And I'm also not too high on Brandon Ingram.
But he
And I'm also not too high on Josh Hart.
Well, I'm not too high on Josh Hart.
But
the other ones
rest
that
of
have
them,
potential.
Yeah, I think they'll in a couple of years, but not this year. But that's a team in the mix.
Okay. Yep.
Trying to think, the Timberwolves, kind of.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. They're not really getting talked about.
Who are the Andrew Wiggins, Cat?
They have the biggest draft bust in NBA history, Andrew Wiggins.
No,
Not the
his
biggest,
name
but
was
he's
Anthony
gonna
Bennett.
get up there.
His
He's
name was
gonna-
Anthony Bennett, drafted
He's
1
going to
overall.
enter
By
that territory at some point if he doesn't improve.
No, he's a decent middle mediocre career. 14, 15 points a game, 5, 6 rebounds. Anthony Bennett was out of the league in like 3 years.
Then-
I mean, Greg Oden, you're not so harsh on him because of the knee injury, but
Then they have Karl Anthony Towns.
Who did Rubio go?
He went to the Suns.
Okay.
And then, who else? I think we need like 10, 11 teams.
Yeah,
Thunder are I think the Thunder are kind of getting left out of conversations that
they're done.
They're not going to be that good, but I
They're-
feel like they're not as bad as people are saying. They're not the Charlotte Hornets that people are trying to make them into.
I think they're gonna lose a lot of games this year.
Yeah, I agree with
the
that.
West is so tough, and it's even when Kevin Durant left and like Westbrook was kind of like on his own. If he didn't play a certain game, or they look bad, man. But are we missing anybody? You said Sacramento, maybe
Right.
that team.
Sacramento.
Yeah. So you got our California teams. We have our West Coast
And then
teams.
teams that were 100% knocking out Suns not going to make it.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy with the West, though. You can't knock out a lot of teams
Right.
completely because it seems like everyone, depending on, like we said, like the injuries, how well they have chemistry, some of their additions, like, could definitely make a run.
So are you still high on the Trailblazers?
I'm pretty high on them. I don't see, they didn't do anything dramatically to lose their edge. In that Western Conference Finals against Golden State, self-proclaimed huge Golden State fan, but the series didn't dictate how that actually went. I mean, I think in every single one of those games they were up double digits. Like, they were a good team. They have all their stars are coming back. I think they play great team ball. Home field environment is pretty crazy. And I think that, I mean, they're middle of the road, Western Conference. They'll finish in that middle seed, so.
All right, so you got your definitive playoff rankings.
Yeah.
Once it gets closer to the season, Stretch and I will do our 1,000%, so I have time to think about it. Maybe you can come on again before the season starts
let's
and
do
give your
that.
updated predictions if anything changes. So, in the coming weeks before the season, we'll be doing prediction videos where we're just going to give out superlatives, things like that, Rookie of the Year, all those fun awards, all NBA teams, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Obviously, you're more than welcome to come join Stretch and I as we hand out those great awards. So
I'm coming. Is it going to be a 3-person show?
It can be.
All right, there we go.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Shout out to Coach D for coming back again. He's got the shirt to prove it.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys next time on the Debate Mates.
See ya. I like that little...